Welcome to Nano Podcast. This is a family podcast where we discuss everyday family issues. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast.
Violence needs to stop. All of us, men and women, need to speak up and teach our children that violence is never the solution. Together we can all make a difference. The best place to start is with yourself. That's a quote by Wei Young.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about domestic violence, whether it be against a man or a woman, this is a topic that many are afraid to discuss because of the fear of people judging them, especially when it concerns abuse towards men. It's been a general perception that domestic abuse is something that's only directed to women, and domestic abuse against men happens more often than people perceive or often realize.
Yeah, it happens often, but the problem is that, like you said earlier, many people don't want to discuss about it. It's weird when they're discussing it. You understand? So just discussing a man being abused by a woman already sounds strange. Sounds weird. Some people will ask how can a woman abuse a man? That's a question. How can a woman abuse a man? Do you understand? It happens when it's something like that, when they start asking those kind of questions. And they'll be like, it's supposed to be the other way around. Do you get me? It's the man that's supposed to be the one abusing the woman.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get me? So it happens. Because of what? Naturally, society assumes that a man are more likely to be violent than women. With that assumption that they are stronger. Men are stronger than the women.
Mm-hmm.
So they are more likely to be the abuser. Due to that perception, a lot of women are getting away with a lot of things, especially when it concerns their partner, their husband, their boyfriend, and so on. When they're abusing those people, with that perception, nobody cannot look that direction, because already the society, the way we said earlier, perception is that it's always the man that abused the woman.
Yeah. Like you said earlier, discussing about men being abused by women sounds very weird. And you also said that this is a topic that people would be afraid to speak about because of criticism from others.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm talking about this example. Let's look at ways men can be abused in a relationship. 1, it's the man's fault. Why I'm speaking about this example is because if there is abuse in a relationship, from the woman to the man, it's often seen as self-defense, and the man will most probably be blamed for being attacked by the woman. And society nowadays has gotten used to the fact that men are more likely to attack women because of how violent they are, and if there is abuse against men, it shouldn't be taken seriously.
Yeah, it shouldn't be taken seriously, because it's always like when it's something like that is happening, they normally say that the woman is defending herself. Do you understand? You can see that most times at the bus stop. You can see on the bus. You can see some people even in the car, they shouting at each other. You can see at the mall, the lady, she using her heels, hitting on the man, slapping on the man, kicking the man. It happens a lot. And when it's something like that is happening,
people who don't know what happened before that would believe that the man is harassing the woman.
That's what I'm saying. It's the man's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? They say it's the man's fault because whatever that is happening to that man at that time is his fault.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's the one that started it. Maybe he was the one beating the lady or before, and she's trying to protect herself. So it happens like that. So because of what? The way we said earlier, and what we said earlier, that the society already assumed.
They already assume that women are more likely to be attacked by men.
By men, the women they are the ones that always receive the abuse. Do you understand? So the man always the abuser. So because of that, when a woman is abusing the man, nobody's looking at that way. Sometimes even you get to the extent that some people will just try to protect the woman that is abusing the man.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I mean? And you see the man running. They're running.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're bleeding because they are really harmed. They understand they get hurt and everything. They're running and see people Sometimes you see them running. Some even try to still be the man on top of that. Do you understand?
Yeah,
because it's happening, it's there because
they just assume. They
yeah.
don't listen. They don't know.
No, because that's it. It's already, like I said earlier, it's supposed to be the other way around.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So when it happening to the man, no.
And maybe even if they did ask the woman why she was beating up the man, the woman could lie about what happened, and then they will believe the woman.
They still believe. Yeah, that's the way it is, because whatever, at the end of the day, it's his man's fault. Yeah.
Yeah, and moving on from that too, historically, women have been abused a lot. And as I said previously, the society nowadays believes that men are more likely to attack women because of how violent they are. Many people have gotten used to the fact that because of the past and how discriminative men used to be back then, even when you're young, someone immediately teaches you that men shouldn't hit women. So it's being passed on to future generations in an instant.
Yeah, that's the way, because already society, even at home, the family, they're looking at women as the weaker entity. They're looking at women as the weaker body. Do you understand? So whenever something like that happens, you get me? Then it's always, like you said that already before, it's the man's fault. Do you understand what I mean? So it's happened like that. So historically, it's always been happening. Whenever you hear the news or whenever on the newspaper, anything, it's always like they always say the man abused the woman. So historically, it's there. So when it's happening to the man, nobody, it's not a news.
Yeah, no one talks about it.
Do you understand what I mean? It's nothing, because historically, like we said earlier, it's already been there. The man is always the abuser.
Because it could even happen right now. So a man could have been maybe raped or could have been kidnapped by a woman, but they don't put it on the news, or no one speaks about it.
Yeah, because it's always the society already sees.
Yeah, they see it as the other way around.
So because of that, like you said, historically, it's been labeled. It's been there. Does not mean that it doesn't happen. It do happen because of what happened previously. Because of how the men taken advantage of women. Because of how the men abuse women. Because of how the men beat women up. Because of how the women. So now the women, maybe some of them, we can call them feminists. They're coming out, speaking out.
Yeah.
Because their voices are being heard a lot. So even if it's happening to a man, do you understand what I mean?
They don't speak up.
They don't speak up. They don't. It's just put under. Do you understand what I mean? Yeah, so because of that historical, how will I say, all the things that happened already.
Yeah, the historical events.
Yeah, so because of that, it's been there, yeah.
And moving on from that, number 3, I'd say this is very important. Being afraid, being ashamed of themselves. Men who are being abused in a relationship keep quiet because they're too ashamed to tell anyone about what's going on in their relationship. Even they believe that men should not be getting abused by women because they've grown up with the fact that men are stronger than women and men shouldn't act like girls.
It happened. Let me just give you a scenario. If you see in the kindergarten, you see a little boy and a girl. Both of them, maybe the boy has a toy that he came with, and another girl will just pick up the toy from him, and the little boy, what happens?
Start crying.
So something like that happens. Do you understand what I mean? Because of that, you can see some in the families as well. Men, they're staying with their partner, or they're staying with their girlfriend, or whatever. Do you understand? They're being abused every day. They will not speak out. They will not say nothing because they're going to be labeled weakling. Do you get what I'm saying? They're going to be ashamed. People are going to say like, What, are you serious? Something like that happening? Are you joking? How can you be abused by a woman? It doesn't happen because it's supposed to be the other way around, like you said earlier. So how can you be abused by that? It doesn't happen. Come on, you are the man.
You're supposed to be stronger.
You're supposed to be stronger because already they always see a man like being stronger. So because of that, some of them are ashamed to speak out.
And the thing is, they don't want any trouble as well, because maybe they are stronger than the woman, but they don't want to cause more problems with maybe the woman's family, because they could be married. They could be married, and the woman's side of the family could maybe she could say that the man beat her or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And even when it's like that, they will not believe him. He's gonna say it's his fault. What we said earlier, it's gonna be his fault. Whatever that happens that time, it's still gonna be his fault because he's been the one abused. He's been the one receiving it at the receiving end. But when he speak out, what will happen?
Yeah,
you get me?
Yeah,
they're gonna blame him. It's gonna be ashamed. How can you? Are you serious? Even talking to his own mates, telling his friends,
he would be ashamed.
He'll be ashamed of saying that because they're gonna laugh at him. What is wrong with you? Are you serious that you've been abused at home by a woman? Come on, man, stand up for yourself. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like that. So it's difficult.
You're talking about the man. Maybe if he spoke to his friends or his family, that he wouldn't be relieved. This is the next example. Number 4, fear of not being believed. This is related to what I said about men being too ashamed to tell people about being abused by a woman. Another reason is they're afraid of not being believed by the people that they confide in. Because as I said before, most people have grown up with the fact that men are stronger than women. And women are more likely to be abused by men.
That's it. They're not going to be believed. Not only telling your mates that, man, that woman, she's beat me up every day, you know. Sometimes you see them.
It sounds abnormal. They'll probably start laughing.
That's when they're going to start laughing at you. You're going to be ashamed of that, saying that. How can you say something in front of your mates?
Or they could even think that it's a joke.
They will not be. He's not going to believe. They will never believe you. Look at that man, 6 feet, maybe 5'7", big, strong man. And you'll be like, man, come on. Okay, they might ask me, why are you wearing your glasses, man? It's too dark. Why are you wearing glasses? Because you don't want them to see the bruises and every stuff going in his eyes, on his face. You understand? He's wearing that. Sometimes you see them, they're wearing cap, covering their hair because there's a mark already in the head. Do you get me? They're wearing long sleeve.
So they don't see any
in the
cuts
sun.
on their hand.
In the sun. They're wearing long sleeve in the sun because of work. Or the nails that are already scratching on their bodies and all that stuff because of that. Do you understand what I mean? And when they speak out, telling your friends, oh, this is happening, come on. No one's going to believe them. They're going to laughing. Are you joking? How can that lady beat you up? It doesn't happen. What did he do? That's what. Do you understand what I mean? They will not going to believe. It's your fault. Why didn't you leave? Do you understand what I mean? It happens a lot. So because of that, he's not going to be believed. So what happens? They're taking everything in.
Yeah, he'll keep quiet.
They keep taking everything in. They don't say, they don't speak out. They don't tell everyone that when they're getting abused. So it's happening every day, gradually. A lot of men are receiving abuse at home. A lot of men are receiving abuse constantly. And because it happened, you know. Even there's one, I know this one, I know it happens. I know this person. When he goes, he work at night. When he went to go to work at night and come back in the morning, he's trying to sleep. He cannot sleep. Though he's sleeping, sometimes he sleeps on the couch. As he's sleeping on the couch, the lady will come out and pour him water.
Hot water?
No, pour him water, cold water. Oh. What are you doing here? You're supposed to go and do this, supposed to go and do that, you're supposed to go and do some shopping. He said, I just came back from work last night. I need to sleep. Do you understand what I mean? It happens. What do you expect him to do? He can't do nothing. And he has to leave and go and do those stuff, those shows and do all the stuff and then come back. Do you understand what I mean? These things are things happening. I know some men that are sleeping in their cars. A lot of them sleeping in their cars. But they cannot tell anyone that they're sleeping in their cars. Do you understand what I mean? Why? Because of being abused. So it's all those things happens. You understand? But because of how the society portray men as being the stronger entity, being the stronger party, is supposed to. There's no way you can be abused because you're strong. Do you understand what I mean? So a lot of women are getting away with it on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, and the last one is 5. Men don't cry. A lot of men have been told from childhood that men don't cry. And some of them grew up with the belief that it's wrong for men to show emotion, especially in front of a woman. So when a man is being abused by his partner, he won't speak out of the fear of being bullied by their friends or being labeled a weakling. Some can even call it toxic masculinity.
Yeah, we can call it toxic masculinity, you can call it whatever they want to call it. But the situation is that already it happened. They will tell you from childhood that men don't cry. I was trying to tell you a story before. I said in kindergarten, which is still happening to tomorrow, a little boy will have a toy and the girl will come and just grab it off him.
Mm-hmm.
And the little boy will do what? Start crying. They're just 8 months old or 1 year old.
Mm-hmm.
He will start crying. It's his toy. Why would she take it?
Yeah.
What do you think those teachers normally say? You don't cry.
Yeah, you're a boy. You're not
You're a
supposed
boy.
to cry.
You're not supposed to cry. Don't cry. Go and get your stuff back. You're the boy. You're not supposed to cry. Do you understand? It happens in the family as well. The girls might beat their brothers and they're crying. What the parents normally say?
Stop crying.
Stop crying.
She's your sister.
Sister, your sister. Boys don't cry, especially in front of girls. Do you understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the boys, they grow up with that. A lot of men, they grow up with that. Believe it that they have to keep their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
They have to put their emotions in check. So when seeing the man crying, what? You become a weaker one.
You become a weakling to other people.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Why should you cry? Do you understand what I mean? Because you're supposed to be the stronger one. You shouldn't be crying. Sometimes they even call you crying baby. How can you be crying like in front of your woman? Do you understand what I mean? Because that's what happens every day. You know, sometimes it starts from childhood, like I tell you, it starts from the family. When you see your daughter beating their brothers, you know, just because she can. Because already, you know, some of them they already knows that no matter what happens, their parents will back them up. Do you understand? So they will beat their brothers up. Their parents will still come in and they shout at the brother.
Thinking that the brother started something.
It's his brother's fault. Without telling them that you shouldn't lay your hands on your brothers. You shouldn't lay your hands on anybody. You shouldn't lay your hands on any boy. The same way they tell the boys not to lay their hands on the girls, they're supposed to do the same. Tell the girls that they shouldn't lay their hands on the boy. Do you understand? And some of those girls, they will grow up
to beat men just out of they'll just beat men.
They take it that they can get away with it. Nothing, because from childhood nobody cautioned them.
And the thing is, some boys, they'll even say that some young boys will even think that since girls are allowed to hit boys, doesn't that mean that boys are allowed to hit girls? They won't listen to that. They won't listen to other people.
Yeah, it happens because already, even if it happens that the girls only hitting the boys, do you understand? No matter what happens, the boys will not be believed, even if they say that she's the one that beat
they
me.
done it first.
Do you understand what I mean? Yeah. You know, because of that as well. Even in the boy can take it as well. You're not gonna say that she hit me because of what?
Yeah.
Ashamed of what? Being the weakling. It happens every day. Do you understand me? So what I'm pointing out is that parents supposed to stop their girls early. Let them understand that it's not right to beat or lay their hands on any man or lay their hands on any even they lay their hands on anybody. Do you understand? Shouldn't lay your hands. Communicate, talk it over instead of. Do you understand what I mean? Yeah. So because of that, a lot of men are having the same issues. They're having that domestic abuse, happening to them every time. You understand? So
yeah, and domestic abuse isn't acceptable whether it happens to a man or a woman, and it's unacceptable in society as well.
Yeah, it's not unacceptable. Whether a man or a woman, it's not unacceptable. The place we're pointing out is that because it's happening every day. A lot of women are getting away with it. Do you understand what I mean? So we should encourage men to speak out. Do you understand what I mean? They should seek help when something like that is happening. They should speak. Talk to their family members. Look around. Speak out. Look for help. Wherever somewhere can help you out. Do you understand what I mean? Report the lady, whoever it is that is doing that. Report the person to the authorities. Do you get me? Because it's not acceptable. The same way it's not acceptable for a man to lay his hand on a woman. It's the same thing. It shouldn't be accepted that a woman should be doing what? Abusing the partner, laying their hands on the partner. I get me. Using anything they see to hit the man. Using everything they see just to, do you understand? It's not acceptable. So that's what I'm saying. So sometimes you see that when the man doesn't speak out, sometimes they think that he will stop. It doesn't stop easily. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't stop. It will not get any easier. Rather, as you're not speaking up,
it could get worse.
it get worse.
Yeah. Thank you for staying with us till the end.
And don't forget that family is everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.